skies are wide, talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space, traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight, just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate.
Talking wormhole stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormhole stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow.
Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeezed so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course.
Talking wormhole stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow.
Thin shell formalism plates so fine, spherical geometry we realign. Energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Unknown forces balancing the plates, creating the throat, open the gates, from Earth to the stars in a single bound. A shortcut through space profound. Engineers and dreamers hold the key to future worlds and what we could be. With science in hand, we forge ahead through the cosmic paths that we now tread.
We're talking wormhole stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
From the fields to the stars, we break the chains. Understanding the universe, we make the gains. Lil Hula Crunk shines, bringing truth to light. Through his music, we'll explore the night. With wormholes and stargates, our path is clear. Exploring the cosmos, our future's here.
Boom! What up, everybody? Yeah, welcome to the stream tonight. We're rocking it. We're looking cool as hell tonight, chat. Guys, the videos have to be real because that song goes so hard that it just makes the videos real. I'm just sitting here bumping it. I love it, guys. I love that music. That song is awesome, chat. Anyway, let's break this out. Thank you, everybody who was following and watching the Alex Stein appearance. That was awesome. Yeah, that was a really good appearance, I thought. You know, funny enough, guys, first of all, thank you all for being here. Welcome, everybody. I see all you guys in the chat. I don't have time to say hi to everybody tonight, but thank you, guys. Appreciate you. You guys are awesome. You know, we got the best community out here. Simple as that. You guys know that. You guys know that. Also, the sun is setting right now, so I need to get another shade. It's that time of year where the sun comes down pretty late. F the breakaway civilization. Yeah, hey, Faraday. Hey, guys. How's it going? I want my ex to go through a time warp. Man, all I know is I'm not doing the bird flu, man. I'd rather get warped away by some orbs than do another series of COVID, whatever this bird flu crap they're trying to push. We ain't doing that. Ashton 2.0. Yeah. That was Ashton squared with the glasses. Yeah, I was actually more afraid of the Alex Stein interview than I have been of basically any other interview I've ever done, because I'm more afraid of somebody who's quick-witted and funny than I am of somebody who's like an expert. Like, I'm not afraid of any experts that are out there. A lot of them are super awkward, and I can just talk circles around them. But if somebody's like an intelligent, like funny person, like they can make you look like a fool. So it was actually really awesome in terms of, Alex was really engrossed. He didn't cut me off. He even made a Michelle Obama joke, which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, he's a funny guy, man. And I'm a big fan of Alex Stein as well, because I don't know, I just find him to be really funny. And I like when people troll, they know how to troll really well. Also, there's the sign, guys. Or orbs. I did have to go pretty fast. I didn't get to go through all my evidence. So we're going to go through the rest of the evidence here tonight. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Aether. It's probably not going to be a very long stream tonight. I did have somebody from a mainstream news organization reach out to me. First time. At least I think it's a mainstream news organization. So that might be interesting. I plan to have a conversation with them later. Cheers. No martini tonight, guys. No martini. So we'll see how that plays out. I think that we are actually Big Mike-O. I told him that that the Mike Obama thing's been an ongoing joke in my chat. So yeah, the sun is on me. Like, I don't know. It's depending on the time of the year, like the sun can beam right through. I've got the shade down, actually. It doesn't even matter. I'm gonna have to get a better shade or something if this is gonna be a constant problem. Normally the sun would be down at this time of night, but it's literally setting right now. So by the time we get through this stream, the sun will be down and it won't be on my face. Hopefully you guys can deal with it. I do really think that we are starting to reach people. Like, people are starting to come around because I've done so many presentations. People are starting to realize, like, this guy's not messing around, and they can tell that I'm a normal guy, not somebody who's trying to peddle some snake oil or something like that. I'm just giving you guys the truth that's out there. You don't take it or leave it or whatever. It is going to get proven that we can, like, literally teleport an object. It's just not going to be like what Billy Carson was talking about. Before I get to that, thank you, Brain Scratch. Oh, Canadian dollars. Okay. You know what? I'm going to give some love to Canada. Usually I would rip on Canada like no other, but my good buddy Dave Rossi's from Canada. Gen X, one of my Twitter followers who retweets a lot of my stuff, is from Canada. So you know what? We're going to go easy on the Canadians. Also, I'm from Minnesota traditionally, so we're kind of close to Canada. We got that Canada, like, we got the Minnesota nice thing going on. Yeah, Ashton, your last name being Forbes and the connection to four orbs is just mind-boggling. If you're ever meant for this, it's as if you're meant for Mike Obama. I mean, look how dope this sign is, chat. God. I'm going to force my dad to come over this weekend, by the way, and put my sign up. If he doesn't, like, either tomorrow or this weekend, like, this sign is going to be on the wall in the next few days. I had to bully him into coming to help me. And yes, you can make fun of me for not knowing how to put a sign on the wall. I don't have power drills or other crap like that. I'm a nerd, guys. I'm not a construction man or whatever. Oh, Sergio says he's Canadian as well. What's this video, Mike Presti? This better be PG-13. You better not be sending me porn stuff. Thoughts on the water experiment? Maybe talking about sonoluminescence. We've talked about sonoluminescence like months ago. It's really interesting, though. What you're going to find out, if you've been following this case, there is a lot of science out there that corroborates what we've been looking at. We're going to go through a little bit more of some of the evidence that we didn't get to on Alex Stein, but stuff like sonoluminescence, cold fusion, there's a bunch of different stuff, even the thunderstorm generator plasmoids. There's a crazy amount of corroborating evidence that supports, like, what we see in the videos and the science and technology we see out there. And that's how we can be really sure that what we're seeing is real. There's never been hoax videos where, like, you go and look at the science, you're like, oh, all the science is out here, all this alternative science that, like, people believe in, but a lot of people just don't know exists. Like, never been anything like that before, guys. So Mike Obama with this, guys, we're never going to let the Mike Obama thing go away, by the way. And I want people to also say, like, am I your grandson? We're going to let that joke go as well. Because if you guys didn't see when I posted the Rick and Morty thing, when I explained the science, I love how, like, Rick is always saying to the Mortys, like, it's not a religion. Don't act that way. Like, when we find some mind-blowing information, I don't want people to be like, ooh, ah. It's like, no, it's just science, guys. It's just science. And yeah, we are going to be talking more about the Aether as well. I already got invited back to be on Alex Stein again. We haven't set it up, but I'm sure it will happen. I would love to talk to him about anything, honestly. I could talk to Alex Stein about politics too, frankly. But I am trying to keep it focused on MH370 stuff. So one thing I want to point out, someone got a plasma lab in their bedroom. Thanks to Dave Rossi and Brother Pies. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Could orbs be related to the missing socks in the washing machine? Maybe chat. YOLO. Yeah, we're feeling good, guys, tonight. That was a fun interview that we just did. Am I your grandson? You're all my grandson. It's a holographic principle, everybody. You're in a video game, but don't hurt yourself. Life still matters, everyone. This is not a religion. Don't take it like that. Oh, sorry, my thing was probably too loud there. Hopefully that made it better. So, okay, that first thing I want to say is Billy Carson went on Joe Rogan. Okay, guys, if Joe Rogan's talking to Billy Carson, he can talk to me, okay? Like, Billy Carson's talking about Star Trek teleportation. Literally Star Trek teleportation. Going, we can map every atom in somebody's body and dematerialize them and rebuild them, but they'll die. And you'll come back as like somebody else. I'm like, how is that not more crazy than like we can warp an object from one place to the other? My stuff doesn't require people dying. My version of teleportation just says, I'm going to teleport my phone from over here to over here. It goes through a wormhole. We don't need it to be dematerialized like Star Trek dematerialization. That's not how it works. I would almost guarantee we're never doing Star Trek teleportation. Maybe, but that's not anywhere. We're not even close to that, man. Nowhere close to that. That's like cloning. That's not even like teleportation. So if you could talk to him about that kind of stuff and the Anunnaki and the mysterious tablets of Thoth and Emerald tablets, like, he should be able to talk to us about a real conspiracy where we can like actually manipulate gravity and space-time, I think. But maybe that's just me, chat. Yeah, I prefer not to have my atoms ripped apart and Brandon 2.0 gets all my shit. Yeah, like I'm not signing up for that. I want to go through a Stargate. Guys, I want to walk through a Stargate portal, and I just want to show up in like Africa or something, I want to walk through a Stargate. That's my dream, chat. Joe Rogan loves pot, and you love pot too. There you go. You guys have something in common there. That's awesome. We better get started on some of this stuff. Yeah, that's like duplication, not teleportation either. Guys, I kind of want to just go on Rogan just to smoke pot. Inject pots. Inject the Marijuana into my veins. Because I don't smoke pot, but it would be fun to go on Joe Rogan. So if I went on Joe Rogan, the first half of it, I would just do like just the conspiracy side with no pot smoking. And then the second half of it, I'd be like, okay, Joe, let's take a quick break. Let's just get super high. And then I'm just going to show you the videos and we're going to go through all the science. That's how I'd want to do it. And then I'd get fired because I smoked pot on Joe Rogan. And I'd be like, it was all worth it. It was all worth it. That would be amazing. That would be fun, chat. Yeah, how fun would it be to smoke pot and then talk about the orbs and the science? That would be honestly my dream. It would be worth everything that happens after that. Absolutely everything. LFG. Everyone wants to see that. It'd be so fun. So if Joe Rogan's watching, there you go, man. That's the plan. Get super baked. Ken Wheeler, too. If you guys don't know Ken Wheeler's a dude who's been talking about, I don't know if he's like Electric Universe, but he definitely believes, he doesn't like Einstein. We'll say that much. And he's been talking about like the dielectrics and I think he like conceptually understands what's going on. But the difference between me and Ken Wheeler, if you guys don't know who Ken Wheeler is, you can go check him out. We've watched some of his videos. His one on magnetism is really cool. Actually, he's done a couple on magnetism. And one with ferrofluid that shows the magnetic wave lines. And then another one he did where he does magnetism on one of those like metal pins things where you can put magnet on and the pins stick up. And they're really good. Now, the problem with him is that everything he says is so hard to understand. I can't understand anything that Ken Wheeler is saying. So that's the big problem is I can't understand anything Ken Wheeler is saying. It's like everything he says just goes right over my head. Like versus me, like I just dumb it all down. So I feel like Ken Wheeler and I are like the exact opposites of one another. He makes it too complicated. I just try to make it too simple. So, okay, guys, you ready for this? I think we're past 8:30, so people have maybe joined here to check this out. Okay. So, Alex Stein, I had a whole list of stuff to get through, and I got through like half of it, which I figured because I knew it was only going to be like 30, 45 minutes. So, there, you guys know, if you've been following this case, like we could go for like 4 hours straight going through the evidence. So 30 to 40 minutes ain't going to get it all done. First thing I want to say is the MH370 videos are real. We're going to look at them again. I'll kind of go through a little bit of the MH370's videos one more time. These videos are real. I know it's impossible to believe. I know it's hard to believe the videos are real. I know a lot of people can't believe that they've been lied to their whole lives, but spoiler alert, you have been. These videos tell a story about the plane that's corroborated by evidence that's out there. More evidence than any other story by far. Planes don't crash without leaving debris fields. That's not a thing that happens. Planes don't just magically disappear in 2014. There's clearly a cover-up at play here, okay? Like, that's not even, you can't even argue against that. Clearly, there's a cover-up going on. This plane just magically disappears. United States is pretending like this plane just disappeared and they weren't tracking it. We know that's bullshit. There's literally military exercises going on right near where these coordinates are in the video. So what did they see, man? I showed on Alex Stein today. There's 5 radars, 5 different radars from 3 different countries in range of these coordinates, in range of the place where they claim this plane flew into the South Indian Ocean. Why would they hide that information? One of the other things I didn't get to was when I was talking to Alex Stein is I wanted to talk about the FOIA requests. So the FOIA requests, all the FOIA requests regarding Edward C. Lynn, the leaker, regarding the plane into the NSA or anybody, it gets met with an Obama-era exemption that says to be kept secret in the interest of national defense or foreign policy. Why are all the FOIA requests to the United States government being rejected into this plane? Just wrap your brain around that. If this is a missing plane where the United States has nothing to hide, why are they rejecting every FOIA request related to it? Using an exemption when FOIA requests should reveal information. They're obviously hiding something. What could be national defense related to a missing airliner? Well, this could be, if that's our technology. Somebody in my replies earlier today said, who's filming this plane? Or why is it there? That should be the easiest question. I don't even want to answer that question. Like, why is the drone filming the plane? There's only one answer. It's not randomly flying around and caught a Boeing 777 on fire and was like, oh, look, we're going to film this. And then some orbs come along. This plane is filming it because it's an operation. The drone is filming it, the plane, because it's an operation. The satellite is looking at it because, A, we've got satellites everywhere. And B, we've got our low Earth orbit satellites staring at it because we're timing it to be there in that location at the right time. Like, that's one of the craziest things to me is like that tells you why it's not aliens too. People were asking like, why is this not aliens? Well, it's not aliens because what? We're just randomly filming this aircraft that's going rogue. Like, our drone was just there and we were like, oh, look, there's that plane that went missing. Oh, let's start filming it. Oh, look, some alien orbs just came along. Like, what? Dude, that was like 1 in a trillion chance. It's like completely impossible. It's obvious that there has to be some connection to these orbs and the people that are filming this event. And this is another reason why the United States government is the one who is responsible for what we're seeing here. Like, the person filming this knows some shit's going down. Like, they're not filming it and freaking out. They're filming it and they're like trying to get as much intelligence as they can. Which should tell you that like and they clearly like right here, like, why would they zoom in like this? Look at how much they zoom in. They're like, and this is all within like 30 seconds. Like, they're only tracking this for like 30 seconds. And then they zoom out right there. You see that zoom out? Look at this zoom out. This zoom out is the biggest hell in the world. So they zoom in right here and the plane goes off the screen. And they're zooming in while the plane's off the screen. And then they catch it again. And then they're like, okay, zoom out real quick. It's about to go down. Zoom out. And they zoom out. And then poof. Like, this person whoever was filming this was directed. And they said, hey, we got this operation going on. Zoom out right now, right before this thing goes down. Because otherwise, how are you going to know the plane's about to disappear? Like, how could you? There's no way you could know that this plane's about to disappear unless you know that that's what's about to happen, right? Because just if you were just looking at these orbs, you're like, why are these orbs spinning around this plane? You'd be like, that's crazy. Why is this even happening? You wouldn't just like randomly zoom out at the perfect time, like right like that. They would never do that. So that's, to me, that's the evidence why this is a United States intelligence operation. And then they don't freak out right here. They just zoom out and they're like, okay, yep, operation's over. If that was me filming, first of all, that camera, like I'm going to be checking the settings of the camera. I'm going to be rapidly zooming in and out, thinking the camera's broken or something like that. I'm going to be looking around, seeing if there's any other orbs around. Like, I would be going nuts. And then after the plane disappears, that camera's going to be going wild. So I'm going to be like, where the fuck did I just go? But nope, they're just like, oh, we're good. We're good. So that's something I wanted to get off my chest right away. So, and I can't believe, like, look at all the detail. So here's another thing. This weird zoom in of the orbs where you see right here, this is the original video. We didn't actually add this or anything like this. Like what you're seeing here where it shows these orbs in super close up, the original video has this built into it. So if you'd fake these videos, the last thing in the world you're going to do is add some kind of super slow-mo and super zoom in. Like, that would be like the equivalent of being like, I want everybody to see my master work. Like, this was done for intelligence purposes. And if anything, the reason why they're showing this zoom in here like this with these orbs like this and the super slow-mo, because they want people to see this is real. This is not fake. That's the only reason why you would add this. If this was a hoax video, the hoax video would have stopped right after the plane disappears right here. If this was a hoax video, the end of the hoax video would be right after this plane disappears right now. That would be it. The video would end. Instead, they're like, oh, I want you to see my masterwork of my orbs. Like, we can see this accurate camera shake. There would be no camera shake either. Like, people wouldn't even think to add the camera shake. If this was a fake video, it would be perfectly on the target. And when you see a lot of fake videos, like, that's how they look. Like, it looks like, and you see so many fake alien UFO videos, and they all look like crap, right? Like, the UFO is like way too crisp and clear. It's always right in the middle, center of the frame. So a couple questions. Is the fourth orb at the destination? We believe so. We believe that the way that you control the direction, or at least control where the plane shows up, is by a fourth orb that would be like quantum entangled to the other three orbs, so that you could have like a slingshot effect like that. That's what we think. We don't know for sure, but that's what the smart engineers tell me. Where do the orbs go? The orbs go with the plane, presumably. So that's the whole idea, is like you entangle the three orbs to the fourth orb, and then everything goes along with it. And the wormhole that you're creating encompasses it all. So presumably when they're mapping the plane in the first video, and I'll pull that one back up again just so that we can talk about it while we're looking at it. Actually, I'm going to show you guys the side-by-side one, because this is actually the original regicide one is this one right here. This stereoscopic version that we see. When they're mapping this plane, they're clearly trying to figure out either the mass or the center of mass of the plane. In my mind, I would say I'm 99% sure they're trying to figure out how big, how strong the wormhole has to be in order to encompass the whole plane. Because otherwise, you're not doing this whole dance around the plane. The reason for this dance around the plane is to map the plane to some degree. And you can kind of just tell that looking as they're mapping it, whatever that means. Because otherwise, if you're just destroying this plane, like a missile would just intercept the plane and then blow it up. There's no dancing around the plane or whatever. So that's, again, part of the reason why this is not an annihilation event. Is that an annihilation event doesn't need all this complicated crap. You don't care if like part of the plane goes flying into the water. You could argue that, okay, it could be some kind of cloaking, but the cloaking aspect, the problem is that the smoke trail stops right there. And then the person moves the camera to the right to show us there's no smoke trail continuing. And I would argue that like cloaking, advanced cloaking, is basically fundamentally equivalent to teleportation as well. Also, this original version has like a minute and a half of like nothing at the end of it, which nobody really knows why. Just there's a whole minute here of absolutely nothing. Very bizarre. Okay, what are the questions before we get into some of the other stuff? Michelle Obama has 2 orbs. You guys crack me up. You guys are going to get me canceled from YouTube, I feel like, with that. Well, since Barack Obama is implicated in the disappearance of this plane, then we get to make fun of his wife. Have you ever seen orbs moving in a sine wave pattern? Yeah, and here's the other thing is there's a lot of videos of orbs with triangle formations out there as well, which makes you wonder, like, if this is real, are some of those other videos of like triangle orbs also real? Maybe. Who knows? The fourth orb might be underwater, but I doubt it. My gut tells me that this plane teleported somewhere else in the sky, that flew over here, and now it's flying around over here. And from the perspective of the people on the plane, it's probably like they just went through a doorway and they were on the other side. But to be honest with you, I'm not psychic. I don't really know. I also wouldn't really, ironically, I wouldn't call myself a wormhole expert, but I might be the number one wormhole expert on the planet that's not like in the black projects, like in the public, which is funny. That is like, I don't feel that way, but I might be actually. There's just not a lot of competition for that prize or for that title. There's not a lot of wormhole experts out there in the public sphere. And then people ask, where's the plane? So did I, oh God, so I didn't even get through all my images, guys. Did I have, okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to pull up, I had a whole thing for Alex that I had prepared, man. I was ready to go. I was so ready to go. This is what I showed Alex. Everybody asked, where's the plane? Guys, it's not a religion. It's not a religion. Okay, so if you watch the rotation of the orbs, and if you use the right hand rule, it's in electrical engineering. It has to do with like the magnetic curl and then the electrical vector. You can tell what the vector of the energy is going to be. And if you do that to the plane with the orbs, you find out that it's going backwards. And we can tell from the coordinates, the plane's going to the east. Sorry, this is the east for you guys. So that means the plane's going to go back to the west. Well, let's look at our map right here. This is where the plane's getting teleported on the top right. And if it goes to the west, then it's going somewhere over this direction towards the Maldives, which, funny enough, that's where Diego Garcia military base is. That's where a bunch of islanders on some small island where they only have like 3,000 people see the plane flying towards Diego Garcia military base. So if I had to guess, that's where the fourth orb is, somewhere over here to the west. It's not in the Andromeda galaxy. It's not on the moon. It's not on Mars or whatever. Oh, has somebody mapped each individual path of the orbs? Yeah, they have. They actually have. I have some videos of that as well. I'm not going to show those right now, but I'd have to dig those up. But yeah, the orbs have been mapped as well. God, I wonder where I have that one. Let me see if I do have it, because if I do, I can pull that up real quick. There's actually a really good side-by-side of the orbs, and I think I downloaded it. Oh, no, that's not it. I'll have to look around for that. I also, by the way, I have so many clips and videos now where like I need like a better organization mechanism. There's too many. Could the orbs be causing an electromagnetic field? Absolutely. I mean, I think that's what we're saying is happening. In fact, it goes beyond an electromagnetic field. So Thomas Bearden would say they can create a scalar potential. The scalar potential is that stress in the medium that I was explaining to Alex Stein. Like when you flick on this, the stress in the medium. So you pull this apart. Generally, if you're pulling on both sides like this, conventional physics would say that there's nothing left. The forces are canceling each other out. But Maxwell's equations would say you're left with a scalar potential. The scalar potential in space-time is a gravity wave. So I would argue what they're doing there when they're converging on the plane the last second, they're creating a very powerful electromagnetic field, a very powerful scalar potential. They're creating a gravity wave, essentially. And then the gravity wave is like surfing on a wave, and you're just surf on it to your end destination. And that's part of the reason, like, why I'm trying to increase people's consciousness of this. Like, I'm not pretending to have all the answers. Like, I'm learning as we go. But man, I feel like I'm Goku from Dragon Ball Z, and I'm in the hyperbolic time chamber, and we're just learning like a ton, like years worth of information in like 6 months. It's wild. I looked at the remote viewing stuff, but I don't tie anything to remote viewing. I don't really believe. I mean, I think people could have psychic powers if like entanglement is real, but even so, I'm not touching it. I'll leave it to the other people. We don't need psychic powers to solve the mystery. Like, we have enough hard evidence. What happens to the silver balls inside? We don't know what's inside the orbs, by the way. Yeah, I mean, Mick West is definitely a shill, but he's also like a traditional CNN brain. So like a lot of people out there, like they're the ones that would never be able to accept the stuff to be real. They're the ones who, no matter how much evidence, they're never going to accept it. That's fine, man. I'm not trying to convince people like Mick West. I really, really, really don't care. I don't care if people want to think the stuff's fake. People are going to come to terms with the fact that we do have advanced science that's out there that goes beyond what the public understands. And, if they can't come to terms with it, that's fine too. There's people that want to live in this Stone Age. I mean, we got Amish people that refuse to use technology. So, Mick West will end up being like the Amish people that just don't believe in technology that we have that's out there. People want to think that like we've achieved all that there is and we just gave up. And Lockheed Martin was like, nah, we developed the SR-71 in 1960 something or other, and we're good. We don't need any more technology. They want to think that we haven't advanced in 60 years and go nuts, man. So some people ask, is the plane going to be at full speed? I think just intuitively looking at those videos, the plane's going to come out at the same speed it came in. It doesn't have to, according to the science. We could have inertial mass reduction, which means you could like set the plane down. But based on the sighting that I just showed you guys in this clip here, I think that it's very likely the plane came out at full speed somewhere. And that also tells you that this technology may be advanced, but maybe we don't have like perfect control of it yet. And it could get even a lot more advanced. And this was 10 years ago as well. So imagine having teleportation technology 10 years ago, or wormhole technology or whatever. Yeah, maybe I will put wormhole expert on my resume. I have been following Alchemial scientists, Malcolm Bendel and Bob Grenier. You guys can check them out if you want. And I respect the thunderstorm generator. I just think that what we're dealing with here is decades beyond the thunderstorm generator. No offense, that's very cool and very advanced, but we aren't. The technology we're talking about is like black project shit. Where did I discover these videos? Alex Stein didn't ask about that today, but I first saw the drone video back in 2014. And like everybody else, I just thought it was some fake video. I couldn't explain how it was fake. I just didn't look real, And then 10 years go by, August 2023 rolls around, and these videos all of a sudden reemerge on the UFOs subreddit on Reddit. And I was like, what the hell? I saw the drone video. I'm like, oh, I remember that one. And then I saw the second video and I was like, wait, there's two videos in perfect sync from different angles. And one of them is called a satellite video. That's when I was like, this is weird. And then eventually, like I saw that they said it was like a Citrix session or remote terminal session for that satellite video, which means that like somebody was logged in to a remote terminal session and the database is, in Utah or something like that. And I was like, holy shit, that's a weird ass detail to have in your fake video. And then I just started investigating, man. And then the rest is history. We got to this point where like now I'm like pushing physics in a direction where like very few people are pushing it. And now I'm apparently a influencer. I never would have thought in my whole life I would call myself an influencer. So, we're breaking down barriers. I call myself a high technology influencer or a forbidden technology influencer. So how did Philip Wood get his cell phone? So apparently he hid it in his butt cheeks. Some people think that he hid it up his butt, but like there's other reports that say he basically hid it in his butt cheeks and that people were like collecting the cell phones from the passengers, but that he hid it up his butt or something like that. I don't think he literally put it up his ass, chat. I think he just put it between like in his underwear, up, in between his butt cheeks. Like I'm pretty sure they weren't doing cavity searches on the passengers. Just saying. Yeah, I mean, this is a good question. What kind of targeting software do they use? So you're already asking the right question. So if you're new, I don't know if you are or not. I don't recognize your name, Magic Internet Money Carpet Rides. But you can tell right away when you look at that satellite video that there's some kind of AI going on, right? Some kind of advanced computer process. It's not little aliens flying around in the orbs that we see here. I'll pull it up again. This is clearly some kind of tracking mechanism. Either this is like an AI that's controlling these, or they're pre-programmed or something. And since it's a plasma sphere, like there's a sphere of plasma in there, there's not anybody inside that. The movement's too perfect as well. If you map it out, it's a perfect sine wave. And people in electrical engineering have pointed out this is a 3-phase electrical engineering system, 0.120 degree electrical system that we're seeing here with those orbs. So that right there, that's like automated. That is not little dudes like, okay, we're the Blue Angels in perfect sync. No, that is definitely computer controlled. So, and I'm glad you pointed that out because that's something that I also intuitively just like was able to determine staring at it. And then all of a sudden I've got all these engineers talking to me and they're like, yeah, you're nailing it, which makes sense why like Salvatore Paez and these other people started talking to me because they're seeing me talk about this and they're like, this dude's nailing it. Like he's figuring it out. Let's see, what else were people saying? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the AARO is still ghosting me. I think we've freaked the AARO out, chat. They won't even give me a memorandum of record now. Like, we freaked the AARO out. I think they found out that those videos were real, and now they're freaked out because there's nothing they can say to lie to me about those videos. Like, that's what happened to the plane. And I don't know what they're going to say. I mean, they have to lie, I think, at this point. The problem is if they lie to me, like, I'm going to put somebody on the record. You know, anybody lies to me about those videos from the AARO, and I'm going to have their name attached to it. So, dear AARO or whoever's watching right now, if anyone from the AARO, the person I talk to, or anybody else reaches out to me and tries to lie to me about those videos, I'm going to get you on the record lying about those videos. And I'm going to put it on the record and make sure everybody knows who lied about those videos. So that in the future, when it turns out we can warp objects or whatever, and people realize you lied, that's going to be your ass. So, don't lie to me about the videos, AARO. Just tell the truth. I kind of want to read my emails to the AARO, but not tonight, guys. I started getting more and more like coy and sassy with the AARO the more time went on. Like, guys, can we just admit the truth about the videos? Like, nobody's going to get in trouble. Let's just admit the truth. Let's just tell the world we got gravity manipulation technology. Let's just stop hiding it. That's like how my emails have been to them. I'm just like, yeah, guys, let's just tell the truth about this stuff. Okay. Wow, we're pretty far. My questions. Okay, if I missed your question, guys, I'm like hundreds of questions behind here. How soon can we roll out this teleportation tech so I don't have to take the train to work? The faster that people wake up, the faster we'll get teleportation tech. That's what I'll say to people. The faster everybody out there wakes up so that we have this kind of technology, the faster we'll get it. That's the reason why I'm pushing it. That's the only way to get it. This is the same reason why a lot of people are like, oh, just open source free energy. Guys, that's not how it works, man. And I can't just like, the government's never going to admit that they have this kind of technology. You just have to wake people up. And then when enough people wake up, then the government will be like, yeah, we had teleportation tech. Like, that's how it'll work, sadly. And that's why I'm good at this, because I know how bullshit the government is. And I know how all the propaganda and brainwashing works. You almost have to have all these skills in order to be able to disclose this kind of stuff. And a lot of people are just socially awkward, where like I'm not very socially awkward. I can talk to anybody. So I think that helps as well. Okay, well, now I'm still super far. I am a healthcare expert. That is true. That is true. I am a prison wallet. I am a healthcare expert. I would say that. Yeah. I know a lot about healthcare. I mean, because I've been working at 20 years, but I'm kind of over my healthcare job. I do want this free energy thing to work out, because then I can be a free energy influencer. That would be like my dream, honestly, at this point. I don't know where the orbs came from, but they could have come from anywhere. They could come from space. They could come from an aircraft. They could come from a submarine. We really have no idea. The second orb looks like it comes from the water. So, yeah. Yeah, and for the people who have other questions, check out the Hard Truths live stream. I haven't put all my podcasts into the podcast list, but if you go to my YouTube, there's a podcast list. And I would say both of the ones with, actually, there's like three with Dave. No, how many? Yeah, three with Dave Rossi are really good. One of them is with Salvatore Paez. And those dudes are like two of the smartest people on the planet. So you watch those and it'll break your mind 100%. Especially the last one. The last one I did with Dave Rossi, that one's not on the podcast list yet. But I basically just broke down the videos with them start to finish. And we talked about all the science, which was awesome. Yeah, feel free to hit the like button. AARO's a scam. Agree. Yeah, AARO is not set to give us disclosure. But I gave them everything they need on a silver platter to admit it. What are the orbs made from? Okay, so great question. I didn't get this on Alex Stein, but there's two things you need to understand about this technology to understand how it's our technology. One is plasma physics. So like cold fusion, tokamak, all that stuff that they're doing, plasma physics, and magnetic monopoles. So what's a magnetic monopole? Imagine that this phone is a magnet, and you have the north side and you have the south side. The magnetic field lines would flow from the north to the south. With a magnetic monopole, it means there's just a north or a south. So everything's either radiating outwards from every direction or it's radiating inwards. If you could make a magnetic monopole, that's what we're looking at with those orbs. You would have like a plasma field. And usually we think it uses a toroid, which is like a donut shape. And then that can produce these, what we see with those orbs, where we see that weird heat signature in there. So plasma physics is one thing. And the public just doesn't know anything about plasma physics. It's so far more advanced than what the public thinks. And the second one is semiconductors. And when I say semiconductors, I really mean superconductors. So what even is a superconductor? A superconductor is when the electrons flow through the medium with no resistance. Normally in a semiconductor, the electrons will bump into the atoms. And when they bump into the atoms, what happens? It heats up. That's why your computer gets hot. That's why your phone gets hot. It's because the atoms, the electrons, are bumping in to stuff. In superconductivity, it's a quantum effect. Superconductivity is. And these quantum effects, things start to act weird. This is where instead of being in a specific location, it's in a probabilistic location, like the double slit experiment. And when you have superconductivity happen in electrons, they begin to flow, and they form something called Cooper pairs, which is, I mean, we're just making that up. It's not like we can see the electrons. But the idea is they begin to flow and without any resistance at all. And that's how, these are the two things that we think, can create gravity manipulation. And we also think there's a connection between plasma physics and superconductivity, where you can induce superconductivity even at high temperatures with plasma physics. And I believe personally that electrons are normally half spin, meaning that they're fermions, which means that if I were to have fermions, it's like, this is my iPod setup here. Every single point in here has to be in a different place in space-time, which gives it, density, makes it an object that I can touch and feel. A boson is when it collapses down onto a single point, like a laser beam. And I believe that when electrons become superconductive, their spin changes from half to 1, an integer. And that's the difference between a fermion. Fermions are half spin particles, and bosons are integer spin particles, 1 or 2. So I believe that what happens is when you achieve superconductivity, the spin factor is changing. They're becoming like an electron wave as opposed to individual electrons that are flowing. And this was what I think can manipulate, gravity essentially. So pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. I don't even remember what these people are laughing at. By the way, I'm like probably 300 comments behind. Okay, I'm going to skip it. Oh, somebody else donated. William Bill, thank you very much. William Bill has been a follower for a long, long time. We're trying to get disclosure for William Bill while he's on this planet. So come on, A-Arrow. William Bill deserves disclosure. What do you think the theory that it might reappear in the future? So this is another common one is because people that know quantum mechanics, they would say that, you can have stuff in superposition. Superposition is like taking the double slit experiment where you have like this wave where it can appear anywhere. And then you can just hold it in place, hold it in time, and then release it later on. I would argue that's possible, but because the people saw the plane in the early morning going to Diego Garcia, I don't think this plane is showing up 10 years in the future. I think that plane, if it was held in time, it may have been held for a couple hours, but it wasn't like permanently held in time. But that is something that, quantum mechanics says is possible. So that's where the whole time aspect gets really, really weird. And I know you can go to the future, like you could go near the speed of light and then you would show up in the future. But I don't know about going to the past. So it gets weird, and I haven't really dug into the time aspect very much, guys. Is the ether resistance free? Good question. I would say what I know about the ether is that the ether, all points in space and time are connected in the ether. And how is that possible? Imagine that the speed of light is infinitely fast in the ether. Now time is going to become super weird. And now you can disappear in one point, go through the ether, and appear in the other point instantaneously. Because although it looks like there's this distance between the 2 points, the reality is they're connected. And that's how you can imagine a wormhole. Same way where I were to take this piece of paper and just fold it like this, and then you puncture a hole right through it. So the reality is, while it looks like space is super far apart for us, if you were to go through the ether, it becomes no space whatsoever between any 2 points anywhere, maybe in the whole universe. So that's how you can imagine how like this kind of technology could get really weird really, really quickly. And then there's implications for non-human intelligence from that. Like I didn't tell Alex, but I personally don't give a crap about aliens or what the nature of aliens are. But if we have kind of technology where every point in space and time is really connected, now, I mean, and if we can manipulate time as well, where we can go back in time or, you know, send information to the past, every single thing is on the table. Aliens visiting us, aliens having been here a long time ago, ancient civilizations, future humans sending us messages, AI already having beat everybody. It's hard to say. Hey, Jordan. By the way, guys, if you have not checked out, I did a really awesome stream or podcast with Jordan right here on Twitter. You can find, I think he posted it on Rumble, and I think you can check it on Spotify. It's all about free energy. Jordan actually knows a lot about free energy. Kind of surprised me, which is fun because now we're reaching a different audience. When we start talking about free energy, is now people are like, oh, well, I don't really care about orbs and the missing plane, but you're talking my language, free energy. And Jordan totally understood the idea of an open system as well. So if you want to hear about the science, check out the podcast I did. You should find it on my Twitter channel from a few hours ago. I posted a link to it. I think he was going to do some clips I'll post later as well. So, yeah, I think that if you think the MH370 stuff is mind-blowing, wait until I show you guys an over Unity device. And we have a device that I'm just charging my cell phone. And I'm taking video and I'm charging it off a free energy device. Just wait for that. Then your mind is going to be completely blown. Or I'm going to get disappeared. I don't know. People say, oh, are you worried about getting disappeared? Not really. I don't really want to live on this planet if I have to keep this secret. So whatever. Also, I'm going to warp me away with some orbs before we do COVID again, too. I'm just honestly, just disappear me to Diego Garcia. If we're going to do bird flu or whatever bullshit's coming, just fucking teleport me to Diego Garcia. I don't want to be on this planet anymore. Just teleport me to an Andromeda Galaxy with Ambassador Bijou. Just get me the hell out of here. I'm over it. Minnesota into hizzy. Hell yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're bending space. So this is the trick. So this is why Billy Carson is not right about the teleportation stuff. And this is also how we can cheat the laws of physics. This plane is not actually like going to light speed. It's creating a bubble around it. And once you've created a bubble or you create a hole, there's two ways to do it. Warp drive would let you create a bubble around your object. And then you're just bending the space around you. You're not moving yourself locally. You're bending the space around you. I think that's what the orbs are doing. I'll show another video that shows the orbs. And then with respect to a wormhole, you're just like creating a shortcut between 2 points in space and time. And these are both physics concepts that are generally accepted. It's just that people think that you can't do it because we don't have negative energy. But when you look at the zap that happens in the MH370 video, you can see negative energy. You can literally see an endothermic event, this absorption of energy. So I think that's why I came to the conclusion that ether must be real. But look at these lines in front of these orbs. They're not behind the orbs. They're in front of the orbs. That is your warp drive. These orbs are just bending space around them. That's how they're moving. That's why they can move so fast. That's why they can just move in these directions that seem impossible with the zero G forces. They're just pulling space around them. And that's essentially what an Alcubierre warp drive is. Which is why, like, when you look at it, there's nothing like this anywhere on no videos have anything that looks even remotely like this. So what kind of genius came up with this? Or is it just real? That's why you have to realize, like, this is just real, man. No hoaxer was like, I'm going to add these weird warp drive lines in front of these orbs. No chance, man. No chance. That detail that I just showed you right there is, like, mind-blowing. Totally mind-blowing. There's nothing like that. Hey, Gerald, nice to see you, man. I just saw an Ashley Biden joke. Guys, I'm so far behind the messages. Okay. Oh, wait, actually, I think we're catching up. Nice. I don't know about the CE5 stuff, guys. Like, I think Dr. Greer shot himself in the foot with all the CE5 stuff, but Tucker Carlson is also talking about spiritual aliens and stuff like that. I don't know about any of that stuff either, chat. I really don't. Yeah, the gyro spinners, it is beautiful in a sense. If there wasn't 239 people disappearing, I would think it's very beautiful. But since 239 people just straight disappeared, might have died, it's also really, really dark. But it does still look pretty cool. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate you, brother. If I missed your question and you want to ask it, go ahead and ask it again. We're going to look at some more evidence real quick. Comment on if you have aphantasia or hyperstasia. Are you able to produce mental images of people and places or things? And I don't think so. I don't know. Honestly, guys, I'm a pretty down-to-earth guy. I don't feel like I have any special powers or psychic powers or anything like that. I mean, I did have a couple weird dreams when I was younger that like seemed to like come true, but it wasn't like it was like, it's not like I saw some device and learned how to build it. It was just like, oh, I had a deja vu, whatever. So, yeah, I know there's some people that are all about the CE5, and there's people that are sure they can summon orbs and stuff as well. I'm not one of those people, but it's cool. Hey, my channel for wall fasteners. I don't know what that means, but I appreciate it. I had tweeted a TikTok of a free energy guy. He met with unfortunate events, but he has to push through at some point. We ready? Yeah, I don't know. At some point, it's going to get out there. If I talk about it too much, then eventually other people are going to pick up on it. It's just going to get more and more mainstream, and that's what my approach has been. So that's what I'm going to do. Velocity is defined as distance over time. You make the time variable. Yeah, that's an interesting approach. Change the time, and then you can start doing weird stuff. So generally the smarts who look at the equations, they just figure out how can I manipulate the equations to like bend the rules. And that's how we get to stuff like warp drives and wormholes and all this other crazy stuff. But these ideas have been out there since the 90s or before. So it's not that crazy to me that they could be real, in my opinion. No, I'm not going to give you hints on the mainstream person. Just because I don't know what's going to happen with it. I was just giving you guys a little teaser. Who knows? Honestly, I do think more and more people will become accepting of this information over time, especially as the science starts to catch up with it. And that's been my goal, is try to acclimate people to the science that's out there, the science of the ether, quantum teleportation, superconductivity. Oh, guys, let me show you a superconductivity video. Okay, so when you watch this video, superconductivity, I want you to picture, like, what does this remind you of when I show you this, okay? Because this is how I was able to figure out that superconductivity is at play here. Like, look at what we're looking at right here, chat. This is a rock, by the way. This is a rock. This is just a piece of metal that's just fucking floating in the sky. How is this piece of metal just floating in the sky? It's just floating freely. Not is it just floating freely, it's flux pinned to the magnet, which means that it's like stuck, suspended in the air. Even if you jiggle the magnet, it doesn't move. And they put a loop around it right here to show you there's no strings. There's no strings there. That's superconductivity that we're seeing right there. They even spin the loop around to show you there's no strings tied to this. And just to show you it's a real magnet, they take it off right here. And then they take like a normal screw, and you can watch the screw just stick right to the magnet. Poop. Look at that. That's a magnet. And yet that rock just floats freely above it. It's crazy to me people don't realize that LK99 is real after that. So that's a metamaterial that's room temperature superconductive. And what does that remind me of? It reminds me of how a UFO could float. Our Earth is a giant magnet. It's magnetic poles, north to south. If you imagine doing that same effect, but on the Earth, now you can imagine surfing on the Earth. Or if you can manipulate that technology with magnetic monopole, now you can imagine how you could float around, do crazy stuff. I believe the monopoles are rotational using Planck constant in a Fibonacci proportion, thus effectively twisting space in front of the orbs. The science seems to comply. Maybe. That's a lot of big words I don't really understand. That's the funny part for me is like I'm not traditionally a science person, but like I can intuitively understand. Like if I see that video I just showed of a rock floating, I can be like, oh, okay, superconductivity is connected to this, and then it starts to add up. And that's how I would tell people that if you think that this is beyond you, just watch the videos, see what that stuff reminds you of, and then slowly start to learn the concepts, and it'll start to make sense. Peanut butter and jelly or hazelnut spread? I like both. But I'm not mixing hazelnut spread with jelly, though. Ooh, no. Like Nutella. Nutella is really good, but peanut butter and jelly is amazing. We don't know that the passengers are dead. It's true. That's why I haven't directly accused President Obama of murder, because we don't know that they're dead. But it's pretty likely he helped commit murder on those people. I mean, I don't know for a fact. I do know that he helped kidnap those people on board that plane. And we know that because, like, we can see the plane disappearing. The United States government's the one who's, implicated in it. Was Scarlett Johansson in those dreams? No, sadly, no. Sadly, no. Oh, wall fasteners for my neon light. I have the wall fasteners. They're all like sitting right over there, actually, on the ground. All I need is a construction person to help put my sign up. So my dad came back from his business trip or whatever. I'm not going to say exactly what he does, but he does some volunteer work. So I'm going to make him help me out with that stuff. Okay, you guys ready to look at some more evidence? Yeah, I wonder if anybody's teleported to a distant time. It wouldn't surprise me, man. Wouldn't surprise me. Meditate? I don't know if I really need meditation. Also, I'm pretty sure that one of the ways to manipulate how much energy you need to produce the wormhole is that the plasma spheres are somehow reducing the speed of light in the equation, which then makes the energy go way down that you need. And Jack Sarfati was somebody that was talking about this recently as well. So I think that there's definitely ways where we can manipulate those Einstein equations for sure. Yeah, that superconductivity video is wild. That's why they're suppressing superconductivity, by the way, guys. That's why they're suppressing LK99. They have to suppress all the science related to these videos because once you start to piece together stuff like the superconductivity of LK99 that I just showed you, like this is how normal people like you and I are able to start figuring out that science is real. Like they have to suppress every aspect of it because once you start to piece like the stuff together, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You're like, wait a minute. All this science is out there. How long has it been out there? This is why they suppressed the Maxwell's equations. So here it again. Would it be a separate video to explain the changes of Maxwell's? Yeah. If you want to know the changes of the Maxwell's equations, watch my podcast I did with Tom Montauk. That was mind-blowing. Holy crap. Like he knows all about how they changed the Maxwell's equations. And that's where I learned about this idea. He's the one that told me, actually, about this example that I give with the rubber band. But he used a rope as an example. Like if you take a rope and pull on both sides, physics would say that it's zero. But it's not that there's zero. There's still the stress in the medium is what's left. And what's the stress in the medium of space-time? Gravity. Gravity is the stress in the medium of space-time. That's why if you put mass on space-time, you get a stress. And the stress, like our Earth, the stress on our Earth is all the gravity. It's like a bend in space-time. That's why I call the ether the space-time ether, because it's still all of what Einstein said is true related to the space-time. But there's an underlying latent energy about it. And that energy is seeping through as quantum fluctuations. So you have all this energy seeping through. But what if we tap into it like a oil pump, and then we can just extract the energy from it? That's what over unity is doing, essentially. Whew. Okay. What else we got, chat? Better find that rock before Hunter Biden does. Buzzing, chat. Don't come after me, President Biden. That wasn't me. That was my followers, guys. Obama's a war criminal. You guys are going to definitely get me canceled off of YouTube, chat. What would be the next breakthrough evidence you'd most likely like to see? Honestly, Edward C. Lin coming forward, game over. Or AARO admitting that the videos are real, also game over. Those would be the top things, in my opinion. For sure. Okay, I'm going to dig through some evidence, and then there is no bounty anymore. And the bounty, for the record, guys, a lot of people misconstrued the bounty. The bounty was not for a debunk. The bounty was not to debunk. Like, the problem with debunks is debunks aren't proof. The only way you can prove these videos are fake. You'll hear a lot of debunkers claim that the videos were proven to be fake, but that's not what they really mean. So anybody claiming the videos were proven to be fake, they're a liar. Because the only way you could prove beyond any doubt that the videos are fake is to produce the person that made them. That's the only way. If you say, oh, this looks like this, therefore the videos must be fake, that's a lie. And this is just shitty logic from really stupid people. No offense. If you're one of the people that thinks that, I'm sorry, but you're a little dim. That's not how logic works. Most of my struggle is trying to explain to people how logic and rationality works. So, and you could argue, well, how have you proven the videos to be real? Well, you could make the argument that I haven't proven it until Edward C. Lin comes forward. Sure. Or Arrow admits that those are real videos. But we've stacked evidence so high that it's essentially undeniable at this point. Our stack of evidence goes up to here. The debunker stack of evidence is like down here. And the debunkers will literally tell you, they'll tell you this straight up, that they feel like if they poke one hole in your story, that means your whole story is fake. They'll say, oh, I poked one little hole in your story. That means your mountain of evidence doesn't count. They'll literally tell you that. But that's not how logic and reason works either. You need to build your evidence up, and whoever's evidence is stronger, that's the truth. That's how it really works, right? And then at the end of the day, like, you have to prove it. Like, proof means 100%. If you find something that looks similar, even if you find a cloud image that you claim the clouds match, that's still not proof. Somebody could have made a cloud image from the videos. Like, that's an option. Therefore, you can't be 100% sure. So anybody that's trying to tell you that the videos are 100% proven to be fake, they are objectively a liar. That's the definition of lying. And if you feel so insecure that you feel like you have to lie about the videos being fake, that's an internal problem, man. That's a you problem. That's a you problem. So it's really important. So anyway, the bounty, though, was for the hoaxer to come forward with the source work of their videos, because they didn't just make that on one shot. Like, those are masterpieces. There's no errors anywhere in them. They would have to work at it. They would have to spend days on it. They would have saved it. They would have made a new copy. You don't want to lose your work. So they would have had some work that they could prove that, oh, like Kim.com said, the videos without the orbs in them. They would have like put the plane there, then they would add the orbs on top. But there is no hoaxer. There's no hoaxer exists for these videos. These are real videos. So that's what it was. And we had it up for months and months and months. And then after Kim.com backed out, bounty, it was still out there for a little while, but eventually I just took it away because people were trying to scam me. People were trying to lie about having made the videos, and their story fell apart right away. Didn't have any evidence, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, so there are applications of this technology that could be used for medical healing. So this person is now like TJY124, like, you're starting to think outside the box. This is what they don't want people to do, because once you realize that we can teleport a plane, you're like, wait, can't you just scale it down and do that same kind of stuff to like cancers and viruses and stuff like that? Maybe. I don't know for a fact, but now you can start to see the bigger picture. Right? Is like, why can't we admit we can teleport something? Well, because it has a lot of medical healing aspects. It has doomsday weapon applications. Like, there's a lot. Like, once you open Pandora's box up, welcome to the brave new world, chat. I have looked into ferrofluids. I think that I don't know that we're looking at ferrofluids in here, but you're thinking the right way. You're thinking the right way. String theory bullshit. I don't know. All I know is there's an ether, and we can create a wormhole, and it's got potentially unlimited negative energy. Time is all relative, yes, and time dilation is real too. Time dilation proves that time is relative depending on how much mass you're next to as well. Is gravity pushing up? Gravity's not doing any of that. That's the thing. You have to think of gravity as the stress between mass and space-time. And then what's happening is time is moving forward. And as time moves forward, things will automatically converge. That's what gravity is. Right? The same way where if we were both to walk to the North Pole, regardless of where we are on this planet, we will converge on the North Pole because of curvature. Curvature is everywhere, even in time. So that's why you have to think about gravity differently. Don't think about gravity as something that's pulling you down. That's not really how it works. What's happening is two things are converging as time moves forward. That's how gravity works. So when you think of gravity as the stress in the medium, the stress between what mass causes on space-time, then you'll begin to understand gravity better, and then you'll begin to understand the ether better as well. Understanding gravity is very, very important. Very important. And then you think, okay, well, what's gravity manipulation? Creating a stress in a particular point. Create a stress in the medium here, and now you've created a gravitational like black hole, essentially, or a gravitational distortion, so to speak. I haven't been threatened. I don't know if I've been followed, but if they have satellites everywhere, they don't need to follow me. They can just pull up the satellites. So normally when I go outside, I wave to the satellites. Okay. If I missed your question, I apologize. I'm skipping ahead. If I missed your question, just ask it again. I'll take a look. Yeah, gravity is curvature, and it's more than curvature. It's stress. It's the stress in the medium of the space-time ether. Is how I would call it, and it leads to curvature. Yes, that's how I would think about it, at least. Yeah, Nassim Haramein. I've looked at some of his work. I think he's directly on point. I think he's like right over the target, 100%. Yeah. I don't know if he's ready to talk about the ether, but I think he's on point. Yeah. Okay, I want to go through some of my other images real quick. So here was the radar one that I showed on Alex Stein, and you can see there's like 5 radars where this plane went out of quote unquote lost contact. How did they not track it? Why did none of these other countries speak up about tracking the plane? They all didn't see the plane? Doesn't make any sense. Do I think the ether has a definite structure? I'm not sure. I'm not quite up there with the geometry of the ether yet. I truly don't know is the answer. So let's look at the next image. By the way, I had all these images ready to go, chat. Here was the debris. So people ask, well, what about the debris? Guys, look at the debris map. This is the drift pattern analysis. So this is the drift pattern analysis. You can see the times down here in the bottom left. It's impossible for the debris to have washed up in Africa in under 2 years. It's impossible. All the debris washes up over here in Africa. Nothing washed up in Australia, but all the drift analysis says it should have washed up in Australia. How's that possible? This is the number one thing where, like, you don't even need to be any expert or anything. Just look at this map. Like, I'm going to zoom it in more. I'm going to zoom it in for more for you guys. How the hell is the debris not washing up in Africa or Australia? This is where the 7th arc is down here. And then my second picture here, this shows it even better. So here's your 7th arc way down here. The debris would have washed ashore in Australia. But look at all these points where the debris washes ashore. Well, what's a better spot for the debris to have drifted over here? Diego Garcia. It's actually a perfect drift model for Diego Garcia being the location where the plane ended up. I don't know. Can people just please use basic critical thinking? It doesn't require any special talents to figure out what happened in this plane. Just look at the map. Look at a damn map for once in your life. Like, this is what's so embarrassing. I was arguing. I went on Reddit for the first time in like forever. And these people are arguing with me about, oh, there's acoustic signals. There's no acoustic signals for a plane crashing in the ocean down here either. But you don't even need that. You can just look at a map and look at where the debris washed up. And you can just figure out it's literally impossible for the plane to have crashed where they think it crashed. That's it. That explains why we didn't find anything either. These people act like it's still like 2014 and like, we're going to find the plane tomorrow, guys. It's like, dude, it's 2024. They searched for 3 years and found nothing. Nothing at all. It's wild. Would the ether be a physical place is a good question. Answer, no. The ether is not another dimension. It's not a bizarro dimension that you go hang out in. Just think of the ether as the underlying framework, like the canvas of our reality. And if you go through it to one point, you're coming out the other side. Now, there is a time dilation effect, but from your perspective, you're never going to experience time in the ether, in my opinion, at least. And of course, I can't be an expert on it. It's not like I've hung out in the ether, but that's what the math and the science and the physics would say around it. So now it doesn't mean that there can't be like weird dimensional stuff going on, but you want to think of it more like time loops, where like, does my time loop connect with somebody else's time loop? And this is, again, watch the Tom Montauk interview I did if you want to know more about that. It will blow your mind, and you will be very entertained. Like, when I do interviews, I don't do shitty interviews where like it's just super boring. Like except for Jack Sarfati's interview, which was horribly boring. But everybody else I've talked to is like, they're super engaging, super interesting. Reddit will come around as well. Eventually, everybody's going to come around because this is what happened to the plane. They'll all come around. So I think I already showed this one. And you can see these like quotes down here from these people that saw the plane. Like these people definitely saw the plane, no doubt. So this is a really good question. What makes the portal close back up? So this is the reason why we don't see the ether, is that you can't just open a hole to it and it stays open. The moment it takes energy to keep the, like, imagine that we're peeling the paint away. It takes energy to keep the paint stayed away, because what happens with the ether is it tries to close up automatically all the time. That's why we don't always see the ether. And that's how you can imagine space expanding as well, if you believe in the Big Bang, which I don't really at this point, is that there's like an auto correction mechanism. So when that wormhole opens up, it's collapsing almost within a fraction of a second. If you watch it in real time, that wormhole is only about 0.1 or 0.2 seconds, and that's it. And then it's closed back up again. So there's like this auto correction mechanism that's closing it back up right away. And that also explains why we don't see it, you know. And that's the biggest people's problem, is that, well, why can't I see the ether? Well, because all the mass that we see and energy that we see, all the electromagnetic waves that are flowing around through everywhere, to see the ether, you have to move them all away. So imagine like there's all these invisible electromagnetic waves bouncing everywhere, and you were to move all the electromagnetic waves out of an area, there you get to the ether. And this is also the idea of the Philadelphia experiment, how this connects to the Philadelphia experiment. They were literally trying to cloak the ship and bend it from all electromagnetic waves. And when you do that, what happens? You get a hole in space-time. You get to see the ether for a second. But the moment that goes away, now all the electromagnetic waves fill it up again, and now it looks just like normal again. Good question, though. Really good question. Why don't we have motors that are strictly powered by magnets arranged to constantly spin an opposite mag in the center? Something like this. So this is a good question. A lot of the fake free energy devices do this. The reason why they don't work is the moment you attach a load to it, then the magnet slows down, because now you're pulling work out of that. What I'll tell you is there's a way to make it work. There's most likely a way to make it work. Now, what that specific configuration is on how to get it to work, I can't say. But potentially there is some type of way to get free energy to work. There's probably multiple ways to pull it off, including like cold fusion. But that's the idea, essentially, is how do we manipulate electromagnetism? How do we manipulate plasma to be able to produce more energy out than what we're putting in? That's pretty much the basis. If you look at all the free energy devices that are out there, or at least the concepts of free energy devices that are out there, they all use the same kind of mechanisms to try to pull it off. The key is, if you listen to the video from the Meg from Thomas Bearden, is like the tuning of it. Like, how do you get it tuned correctly so that it works? So that's the most I can say regarding that. Think of the ether as an invisible river streaming vertically into every object from the planets to the particle. Yeah, I think of it as like an ocean, honestly. Yeah, I'm newer to all this, but your explanations are incredible and work is well done. And that's the reason why you can tell it's authentic. You know, like if people are spinning you a story that doesn't make any sense, the evidence falls apart. But in this case, the evidence is rock solid. I mean, I wouldn't believe it unless the evidence was rock solid. I'm an extremely logical and rational person. You think that I'm the kind of person that just randomly believes in wormholes? No. Like, I gotta be seen, like the MA. I gotta be seen. I'll pull it up here again. For me to believe that a wormhole is possible, I have to basically be seeing the video that I'm about to show you right here, right now. Like, this right here is the money shot. This is everything you need to see to understand all of what we're missing in physics right here. This super slow-mo. That's it right there. You see this cold, dark endothermic event. That is proof of the ether. This is proof of scalar physics, proof that Thomas Bearden was right, proof of everything that we needed out there. Now, I didn't even understand it right away. It took me a while to even figure out that that was what we needed. But once you figure it out, you're like, well, that explains everything. It's not, you don't want to think of it like fluid or a water. It's not going to be that viscous. It's not like you're like trying to struggle to push through it, you know? It's more of just like, what connects everything that's out there? You know, what connects the air? What is between the molecules? I think the better idea is think about it like, you know, are water molecules all directly connected? Is air molecules connected? Like, no, when we are moving through the air, if you're actually to like look at how far apart the molecules are, it's mostly empty space. But what is empty space? That's how I would think of as the ether. Is the ether is the empty space between everything. Yeah, we're going to show the experiment about the vertical stuff. I want to get through the rest of the evidence, and we'll talk more about the ether. And then we'll end it for tonight. We're going to do more talking about the Philadelphia experiment. I'm actually planning on interviewing somebody about the Philadelphia experiment potentially in the future here. Can slaves be considered free energy? DEI training for you, sir. Mandatory DEI training for you. I did at least 5 parts on Thomas Bearden, probably 6 or 7, honestly. I do wonder if the orbs have also been used again. Okay. Yeah, is there, I mean, what even is empty space, right? So let's look at some of the other stuff. Okay, so this is the flash. So the flash actually accurately illuminates the environment up here. It illuminates the clouds in 3 dimensions, meaning that this cloud's not being lit up. The back side of this cloud's being lit up because the plane's in front of it. The front side of this cloud's being lit up because the plane's behind it, or whatever, vice versa. Sorry, yeah, the plane's behind this cloud, in front of this cloud. And then this cloud over here, you can almost even tell the depth of this cloud relative to the position of the plane. Same with this cloud here. So this is accurate environmental 3D lighting for 2014. This, in my opinion, proves that what we're looking at is an event that's happening in 3 dimensions. This is the sketchy pings that I showed. So if you can like literally look at the satellite pings for yourself, and you're going to be like, well, something clearly happened at 1840. Because you get to 1840 and all of a sudden the data just goes away. You're like, wait, where'd all the data go? And then here are the 2 scientific papers that I showed you guys. So if you are watching right now, like, why do these scientific papers exist? Warp drive, dark energy, and manipulation of extra dimensions? What? How is this even real? How is this real? And then the other paper, traversable wormholes, stargates, and negative energy. Like, without seeing the MH370 videos, you'd look at this and go, like, why do these papers even exist? And then when you see the MH370 videos, you're like, oh, this is why the papers exist, because we have fucking teleportation technology. We have warp drive and wormhole technology. And so they had to write these papers because, like, otherwise it's going to be pretty damn awkward when the technology comes out later on. How to tap the ether. So in theory, you tap the ether by, you know, producing some type of effect that will allow it to be drawn out. Now, if you look at a lot of the free energy devices that are out there, they almost all use magnets. Not all of them, but many of them. Some of them also use some types of cold fusion that are out there. So you can imagine that they're using like the magnet properties, like magnet can create repulsion. Or look at the Casimir force, and these papers both talk about the Casimir force, by the way, where if you just put 2 plates together, they just attract. Well, there's a force there. So how can you tap into that force? That's the idea of a lot of the free energy devices that are out there. And then for people that want to know the drone, I mean, we're looking at 2 cameras on the wings of this drone. Like, this is our drone right here. I mean, and if it's not this particular one, whatever. I mean, this is exactly what it looks like. So, okay. I wanted to show those. Do I think a person could survive? I think that you're not hanging out in the ether. So humanly traversable wormholes are possible. There's been a bunch of papers that argue that you can survive a wormhole. The difference between a wormhole and a black hole, like the Don Lemon thing, is that a black hole is going to rip you to shreds. A wormhole doesn't have an event horizon, which means that you can actually traverse through it and show up on the other side. That was mind-blowing me to find out. That's the difference between why you can't go into a black hole and show up on the other side is you get ripped to shreds. You can actually go through a wormhole because it looks like a black hole, but it doesn't have an event horizon. How does the plane get sucked in? Whatever the orbs are doing is causing it. And I can't really explain more about the intricacies of how exactly it works. If you read those papers I just showed, though, they'll give you more of an idea of how that works for sure. For sure. Yeah, so here's a good example. Fifth dimension is where gravity and electromagnetic forces interact in the ether. That's a good way to think about it. All waves require a medium. Sound waves require air. Water waves require liquid. Electromagnetic waves require the ether. I don't know if that's exactly correct, but it's a good way to imagine it. Okay, I'm going to close out all these images. Okay, then I wanted to show some videos. Which ones did I show? Blah, blah, blah. I showed most of them. Okay, I'm going to show you guys some more MH370 videos. Yeah, I think cold fusion exists, and I think that cold fusion is a form of over unity that's tapping into the ether. That's why I mentioned that plasma is probably one of the ways that can do it. Yeah, you get spaghettified in a black hole. And in a wormhole, you don't get spaghettified. That's the main difference. But what I will say, those scientific papers that I just showed you, they say don't touch the edge of the wormhole. You don't want to have like half your arm in the wormhole and the other half out of the wormhole. It's not going to go well. So if you ever go into a wormhole, guys, all arms and legs inside the vehicle, okay? All arms and legs inside the vehicle in a wormhole. I don't think that wormholes cause Havana syndrome. I think that electromagnetic waves and scalar weapons cause Havana syndrome, which would be like the same types of things that like UFOs would use to float. They all use, this is all based on the same science, which basically boils down to something called scalar physics. And I do think that's what's causing Havana syndrome as well. And that's the reason why. Guys, like you can just literally, I sold you the names. Like just literally put into Google, type in warp drives, dark energy or negative energy manipulation extra dimensions. You guys can find the links in there. Okay, guys. I guess people want me to put the links in. Okay, I'm gonna put the links in the chat for you guys. Okay, that's one of them. The things I do for my chat, guys. Okay, so here's the links if you want the scientific papers. You have to be watching the YouTube to see them. So if you're not on the YouTube channel, go to the YouTube channel. Here are the links. There's one of them. You can see it's literally from the Defense Intelligence Agency. It's literally their website, dia.mil. There you go. Okay, so there's both of them. First one, second one. Don't say I never did anything for you guys. The wings will only survive the wormhole if it's encompassed in the wormhole. So yes, I think that that's the whole point of why they're mapping it. Now let's go to another video. Here's the drone blue and black video. Now this video I like because this really lets you see the warp drive in front of the orbs. This is why I like this video the most. So yeah, and by the way, I am going to talk to Al. Al Bielek is dead, but Tim Ventura interviewed him, and that's why about the Philadelphia experiment. And that's why I want to talk to Tim Ventura. So in this video, look at the black lines. Once you see all three of them around them, look at the black lines in front of the orbs. That's wild. Like you can see it so clearly in this video. The lines are in front of those orbs. Blows me away. This video is just beautiful. This is my favorite. Somebody just changed the color channels around. This video is just straight up beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This is by far my favorite version. 100%. Look at those black lines in front of the orbs. In fact, I'm going to pull this one up so I can put it in slow-mo because I want to watch that part in slow-mo. I could sit here and watch this video all day long. Which tells me this is not some fucking Banksy that made this shit. Like, did Banksy make these videos? These things are just beautiful. Where is it? MH370. Oh, here it is. No, that's the black and white one. I want the black and blue one. That's the one I want. Okay. So this is what I want. Share video. Like, I guarantee you Banksy didn't make these videos. So, you know, this is like when people watch Banksy's work, you know? Like, how do I change the speed? Okay, I'm going to put it to half speed here. Because, I mean, just watch how perfect these videos are. There's one as well that somebody did that maps them and has them side by side, and they're perfectly in sync as well. Yeah, Banksy didn't make these videos. Watching in slow-mo is also just like a whole experience. Like, look at these videos in slow-mo, man. The way the orbs like kind of like distort a little bit too, but just a little bit. Like nobody added these orbs. If somebody added these with VFX, they'd be perfect spheres. They wouldn't warp. The way you can kind of see them warp in some frames, that just has to be real. I mean, I never knew any of this shit before, guys. I didn't even know wormholes were a thing before this. Like I thought it was just science fiction. And then the first thing I found when I was digging into these is that there was 3 wormhole papers from 2020 and beyond. And I was like, wait, what? And I read all those papers, and one of them is by Juan Maldacena. And I was like, wait, wormholes are things that can look at the lines in front of the orbs. You can see them so clearly. Look at that. Look at that. This is just mind-blowing. Watching this right here, I'm like, okay, who faked this, man? No way. No way. The orbs are spinning also, like totally wild. It's where you watch this in super slow-mo and you're like, okay, no way did somebody fake this. Look at the dark lines in front of the orbs. You can see the dark lines so clearly, like right there. Right here, the dark line. That's their geodesic. They're making space in front of themselves or warping space in front of themselves, however you want to think of it. Yeah, I could watch that video all day. But I want to show, we don't have all day, unfortunately. So here, this was the money. This is what turned a lot of people, guys. This one turned a lot of people. Watch the orb displace the smoke right here. Right where I have my mouse right here. The orb just displaces the smoke. Right? Poof, like that. Oh my God. It went right through the smoke trail. The one orb actually goes right through the smoke trail. It's completely undeniable. Look at that. Boom. That's crazy. This is the one that turned a lot of people that thought the videos were fake, where they saw that and they're like, okay, the videos are real. That's not orbs being added to another video. Like that's something, literally a real physical object interacting with the smoke trail. And by the way, you can see this in the original video as well. It's just harder to see because of the colors. The only thing somebody did on this video is they changed the color channels. That's it. Nobody edited this in or anything like that. And if anybody's trying to say this is compression, they don't even know what compression is. Compression actually removes detail, doesn't add detail in. And if it was any type of artifact, it would exist for every single orb that goes over the smoke trail. Because it's only this one, it tells you that this orb is just literally going through the smoke trail. The same way where if I were in some smoke and I ran through the smoke would like go around me as well. Yeah, the VFX this would take, especially in 2014. In 2014, 10 years ago with 10-year-old software and 10-year-old computers, probably even older than that, unless they had a brand new computer and brand new software. No way. Especially because you need a 3D rendered environment because you have 2 perspectives. They're in perfect synchronization with one another. So yeah, I didn't even get to show Alex Stein this one, guys. Yeah, compression downsizes for uploads. It basically reduces quality so that you don't have as much. The file size is not as big. And then we have a couple more as well that I'm going to show here. Yeah, compression makes things smaller, so it's not going to add detail. It does the opposite. Yeah, it is beautiful to watch, honestly, some of these videos. That's why I can't believe people still think these are fake. Eventually, people are going to come to terms with the fact these videos are real. It's just going to take a while for people to get used to it. Okay, I'm going to show you the cloud sync one. This one's also pretty wild. Okay, so this one, they have the drone video mirrored because the satellite video is from the other side. So the satellite video is from one side and the drone's from this side. So in this case, they mirrored the drone video so that it would line up. And what you can see in this one's wild here. Like you can see the actual cloud. So you see this cloud down here in this drone video. It actually, I believe, is this cloud here in the bottom right. So you can actually tell where the drone is. The drone is somewhere up here near the top. And the drone is seeing this cloud in the background. And then you can see the second cloud as well right there. The second cloud is definitely this cloud right here. Like you can actually just tell that's the cloud right there. They look identical. So you can actually, we have 2 clouds lined up here when you sync up the videos. 2 clouds match. We can actually triangulate the position of the drone theoretically because we can see the plane move here. So the drone is almost certainly like right off the screen up here on this video. So this is another reason why you're not doing this with two 2D environments. You need a 3D rendered environment to get this kind of synchronization like that with the same exact clouds. This is where like the debunkers just, they ignore so much evidence. It's ridiculous. The debunkers like literally just don't address anything that proves them to be wrong. And then they cherry pick like some certain point that they tries to make themselves feel good. These videos are definitely real. Look at that. What the hell? I mean, come on. And then, so we're almost done. The last one is the clouds moving. So some of these people try to claim that the clouds aren't moving, which is just absolutely ridiculous to me. The clouds aren't moving. Guys, we're only looking at like 5 seconds before the image moves. So the clouds moving part, here's the short version. You can just look at the clouds wiggling here. I'm going to hold my mouse somewhere so you can watch the clouds wiggle. Look at the clouds wiggling right there. You kidding me? They're not just moving, they're evolving. Somebody didn't add this in as an effect. The clouds are definitely moving here. Like, this is undeniable. And this is only one spot. They're moving in several locations. And the only reason why you can't tell it is because you're only looking at the cloud image for like 5 seconds. It's only like 5 seconds on each perspective before the perspective changes. Like if you just go look outside, it doesn't look like the clouds are moving either if you look at them for 5 seconds. But they are, right? And then the best part is somebody just said, but Mount Fuji. Like the debunkers, we had this debate space the other day. And they're like, we geo-synced up the location of Mount Fuji. And I'm like, yeah, but there's no Mount Fuji in the videos. And they're like, oh, but there's Mount Fuji in the pictures of the cloud pictures. I'm like, yeah, because those cloud pictures aren't in our videos. They're like, oh, but we found a windmill in this picture of clouds and geo-synced it to Japan. I'm like, yeah, and there's no windmills in the MH370 videos. Like, does this really take complex logic? No. There's no complex logic to figure out that we're not looking at Japan. There's no Mount Fuji in these videos. If this was supposed to be Japan, there'd be a Mount Fuji in the background. There's no Mount Fuji. Just what? Like, this is where it's like, that's why I don't really deal with debunkers anymore. They don't really have a lot of logical reason. Hey, have a good night, man. Okay. Whew. Okay, we got through some stuff there. That was most of the evidence I planned on. And a couple other things, too, that I wanted to point out. I had a couple arguments I was going to bring up. Is one, that people's minds are just literally broken by these videos. Like, these videos, like, break people's minds. And that's part of the reason why they're hiding this stuff, because if you believe these videos are real, like we've been getting lied to for a long ass time, guys. We've been getting lied to for a while. Yeah, you guys want to go on a vacation trip to Diego Garcia? I'll pass. These also break all the paradigms. Or we're breaking the paradigms. Like, we're bringing the ether back. I don't care if people are like, ooh, the ether, woo, woo, woo. No, we're bringing it back, and we're calling it the ether. You know what? I figured out the MH370 videos. I get to call it the ether. We're calling it the ether. We're not calling it quantum fluctuations in the vacuum. We're just fucking calling it the ether. Get used to it. Ether is coming back. And we're calling it scalar physics. I don't care if people are like, scalar physics isn't real. No, scalar physics is fucking real. It's coming back. We're breaking down all the paradigms. We're breaking down all the disinformation. I don't care what people want to accept. That's the privilege that MH370X gets. If we prove the ether is real, we get to call it the ether. If we prove that scalar physics is real, we get to call it scalar physics too. Deal with it. The prime minister, the old prime minister of Malaysia, said that the CIA knows what happened to the plane. Why would they say that? Why did the French father who lost his wife and children, why did he get told the Americans know exactly what happened to the plane? He also was told that there was AWACS, United States radar planes in area of when this happened. Like, what? The Minister of Defense, this guy was a liar. I mentioned on the stream that he talks about, or on the interview with Alex Stein, that he said that they knew the plane wasn't hostile. How could you know that? They would have had to have contact with it. The prime minister who was prime minister that said the plane went in the South Indian Ocean, He was involved in the biggest kleptocracy scandal in the history of the world, 1MDB. He stole $700 million. The guy's a fucking criminal. Why would we listen to a criminal that says, oh, the plane went to the South Indian Ocean? He has no credibility whatsoever. The other prime minister says the CIA took the plane and was lying about it. Which prime minister should we believe? The one that stole $700 million or the guy who was a prime minister for the longest time ever in Malaysia? He was prime minister before the corrupt one and after the corrupt one again. Wild, guys. Where can I see the Alex Stein interview? I'll post a link. Also, I'm going to put a link to the Discord in here as well. Where is it? Here it is. This should get you there. Okay, so this link I'm putting in the chat in YouTube or in the YouTube. That's the link to the interview from today. Should be up. Yeah, Najib. You can look him up. Najib. Remember that whole 1MDB scandal, the Wolf of Wall Street thing or whatever? He was a guy who stole $700 million. He was the prime minister. He was a prime minister when the plane disappeared. And he was the prime minister that Obama was calling every day to set up the cover story. And then eventually, like a few weeks later, he was like, the plane ended in the South Indian Ocean, but we don't know where. And we're going to that's what you're going to believe. And now everybody believed it. They believed a fucking liar. And then the prime minister that replaced him after he went to prison was like, no, the CIA took the plane. Well, maybe we should listen to the guy that didn't go to prison for stealing $700 million. Just a thought. Just a thought, guys. Yeah, 700 million reasons to lie. Like, that's a lot of fucking money, man. Like, let's just use common sense. Once again, to solve MH370, you just got to use common sense. That's it, man. That's it. Okay, so that's the link to that. I'm going to post a link to the Discord for anybody who wants to join our Discord. How big is our Discord now? I think the Discord's gotten pretty big. Oh, yeah, we have like 800 people in the Discord now. 700 to 800 people are in this Discord now. Wow. This Discord's gotten really big. So the only rules about Discord is you can't act like a piece of shit. I haven't changed all the rules. I don't really care if you believe the videos are real or not. I just don't want you acting like a piece of shit and arguing with people. So that's really the only requirement in the Discord. So have fun. There's a Discord invite link. I put it there. So if you don't know how the Discord works, figure out how Discord works, watch a YouTube video or something how it works. Make sure you verify. There's a verification channel. You have to go there and verify this. Make sure you're not a bot or something like that. And then you have to wait like 10 minutes and then you're in the Discord. Enjoy. I'm also going to fix up the channels in the Discord as well. Whoever just said, is that MTG in the background? Bingo. Yeah, those are magic cards back there. I got an uncut magic card sheet because Wizard of the Coast like fucked up one of my orders on this like really rare set. So they sent me this like holographic thing. And it actually looks awesome. I should probably take pictures of it. I'm not usually the guy that would have like magic card poster, but it looks amazing. Like it just looks really damn cool. So I framed it. It's cool. I like it. I'm a fan. I don't play magic cards anymore, but I used to be really good a few years ago when I played for a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that set is War of the Spark, also known as War in magic cards. So I think that was like what, 4 or 5 years ago, War of the Spark. But I didn't play back in the 90s or whatever. I played like right before COVID happened. I played for like a year and I got really good. And then COVID happened and I stopped playing. So, but for the people that know, people that play in arena or whatever, if you care, like I was mythic rated in both draft and in construction. So if you know what that means, that means I was probably a pretty good player. I was like mythic rated in draft like every single season too. Oppenheimer Ranch. We're going to be chilling with Diamond next week, talking about free energy. Going to be awesome. So make sure you check out Oppenheimer Ranch project. Oppenheimer's awesome. Maybe I'll inject some marijuanas with Oppenheimer Ranch one day. We'll see. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. So we got through all the details. That was good, chat. That was good. Okay. Now I want to show some Aether stuff and then we're going to shut it down. I'm still expecting a call later tonight as well. So people asked about the Aether. I don't know how much Aether stuff we're going to get through. Tomorrow, by the way, we're going to talk about free energy. I'm going to have an announcement. The company that I am starting with the entity I signed the NDA with. We've got a name for the company. And tomorrow as well, I'm going to give away where people can email their, let's call it proposal, their inquiry into the over Unity device as well. So tomorrow, 2 big announcements: name of the company and the email address where people can email. There's going to be a list of questions that you have to send in. If you don't answer the list of questions, you're probably just going to be ignored. We are going to be heavily vetting the people. The things that we're going to be looking for are most likely people that we can trust, and then people that can help influence to, after it's been proven to be real, that they will talk about that it's real. I don't want them talking about how it works. That's what we don't want to have happen. But we want them to say that, yes, this works, and I've been running it, and it's been running for a month, and it's been charging all my shit, and it is literally just producing free energy. That's the type of people we're going to be looking for. And then obviously people that have some money, because these things aren't going to be cheap right away. But the goal is, once we prove it to be real, that it can get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and more efficient, and that we can get economies of scale and produce more and more of them. So we're basically going to be looking for like early adopters. It's going to be called the alpha wave. So the alpha wave is going to be really being selective. So if you don't get selected in the alpha wave, I apologize. We are going to be pretty picky about it. And then we are going to do follow-ups. And also, I'm not going to I want to actually, before anybody signs any deals, I want to do a video with the device in person, proving that it's real as well. Now, of course, even doing that, people are going to say it's fake, but that's what I want to do, to show people that like I have skin in the game, that I'm not faking this for people. And then we're probably going to try to reproduce a version of like Thomas Bearden's video when he went to Floyd Sweet's place, and have it running a bunch of shit so people can see that it literally works. So I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. And if for some reason it doesn't work out, there won't be any orders. Like if it somehow does not work for whatever reason, and I'm not 100% convinced in person that it works, then I'll just cancel the whole thing. So there you go. For the record, I've already stated this. Now, it's a range depending on how big the device is and how much energy you want it to produce. And the median price, if you were to like power a decent sized home, based on what we did some, like people said the average energy or whatever, and I'm going to confirm this. So this is, again, just ballpark. It's roughly $50,000 to have a device that can power your whole home, your refrigerator, your air conditioner, and everything like that. Again, ballpark. It can be cheaper. It can be more depending on how much energy you need. So if you wanted one that's like for a small backup generator, doesn't need that much, then maybe it's cheaper. But I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's not cheap, unfortunately. And that's because of the materials required are quite expensive, and the engineering to put it together is also quite expensive. Now, again, this is a ballpark. I am going to plan on having some exact figures and maybe even set up some price ranges for different sizes. It's all based on how much electricity output that you want. Okay. So again, this is part of the reason why we're vetting people, is want to make sure, A, you have the money for it. B, you're not going to give away how it works. C, you're going to help to potentially promote the device as well. So, we'll see how it all works out, Yeah, and somebody says, well, pay me that money and I'll tell. So, yeah, obviously this is part of the reason why we are being careful about it. Now, what I will say as well regarding that, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow, guys, over 30 of these devices have already been sold. I'm going to repeat that. Over 30 of these devices have already been sold, as in like already gone off the lot, already been sold, bought by people. They're already in use by people, by the same entity that I'm working with. This is part of the reason why I was so excited for this opportunity. This wasn't a situation where someone's like, hey, I have a free energy device, but we have to prove that it works and figure out how we can, manufacture it. Like, that's already all done. So pretty wild, right? Like, that's the reason why I was like, okay, I'll sign the NDA, show me how it works. And I signed the NDA, and that's all how it works. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I get it. So pretty crazy, right? And again, like, I need to be 1,000% sure, because the last thing I want to do is scam people. I don't even like taking money from you guys. Like, when you guys donate your money to me. By the way, did somebody else donate and I didn't get to it? No, okay, I talked about all the donations. So the last thing in the world I want to do is get sued for scamming people out of a free energy scam. So I'm going to make 100% sure, and we're going to have a video before any contracts are signed by anybody. I'm going to have seen it firsthand and had made a video, and I'll post it on my X and on my YouTube account. So, and then I'm sure we'll have debunkers saying, oh, they've hit a wire in there or whatever. I don't know. We'll see, man. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, Star Trek World is coming, chat. Sorry. Oh, and by the way, like a few people have like donated on my tip thing. Thank you very much. Who did that? I might list them out real quick as well. I don't know how to check actually. So maybe I'll do that next time. But thank you if you donated on the tip on my Cash app. I appreciate that. I got like $16 or something like that. And some people asked they wanted to be on the list or whatever for the Over Unity. You have to wait till tomorrow, okay? So I will make an announcement tomorrow. I'll post it on my Twitter afterwards as well. I'll post the name of the company. I'll post the email address. And then I'll post a list of questions that you have to answer for that, okay? Alt Protestant, Ashton Forbes poker tutorial win. After we start up the Over Unity stuff, guys, I might get back into poker again. We'll see. The key about poker is you want to be sober. You don't want to be high. You don't want to be drunk when you go play poker. You need to be like clear state of mind. If you're not, you're going to lose. I'll give you that much. But I am a really good poker player. I'm a good Magic card player, and I'm a good poker player. I'm good at all card games, honestly. And that's just the truth, chat. You can listen to my other story about poker from the other day if you want. Okay, so sorry. I wanted to show you guys this before we log off for tonight, and it's already going a little bit later than I thought. So, okay. The Aether, guys. We'll do more. The Aether that we don't get to tonight, we'll talk to tomorrow when we talk about free energy as well. So here is Martin Gruznik, okay? So he did the Michelson-Morley experiment. He redid the Michelson-Morley experiment. This is the configuration. So he sets the interferometer up, and then he spins it around. You can see the interference pattern does not move when you spin it around horizontally. This is how Michelson-Morley said, well, there's no ether because we're not seeing any movement here. It just stays perfectly still. And so Michelson-Morley decided, oh, nope, there must not be an ether, and we let it go. Okay? And then my thought was, well, what if we misinterpreted this somehow? Well, Martin Gruznik also figured it out. So Martin Gruznik was like, oh, let's flip it on its side. Flip it on its side. It's basic. 1885, they're riding around horses. They do it horizontally. They don't think about spinning it on its side. Look, spin it on its side, and now what? Wow, look at this. It's moving. The interference pattern's moving. What? What? And just in case you think like, oh, well, it's going to be based off of, well, obviously, this is the part is like, how do you even explain this right away, right? How do you even explain what we're seeing right here? You know, why are the laser beams having the interferometry, why the interference pattern shifting like this? That's wild. And good news is we're going to have a scientific paper that explains it. So one thing he explains here as well is he actually lines up where the mirrors are. And it turns out the mirrors are perfectly parallel to the plane of the Earth. And so what you see here is it shifts back and forth. So for a second there, you can see it shift to the right, and then it'll end up shifting back to the left. The locations where those shifts occur, you see it go to the right and go to the left here? The locations where that shift occurs is lined up perfectly where the mirror is flat with the Earth. Down here, the mirror is flat, and up here, the mirror is flat. So clearly, there's some effect going on. How fast it spins is irrelevant. It's not about the speed of the spin. It's about the location of the device. That's what's causing the interference pattern to change. So you can see that's why he points these lines out here. This is the point where it changed either to the right or to the left, depending on when the device gets to this location where the mirror here, the beam split or whatever it is parallel to the Earth. And then basically he ends this by saying like this is a brand new understanding. And so it's changing like whatever 11.5 peak distances. So we can measure this. So this is a measurable movement that's not just an error. So then the question was, okay, well, great. We got this weird thing going on. This had 223,000 views. Guys, my content's getting a shitload of views. Like, this is a lot. People would kill for this many views. And I'm just like, yeah, just casually getting hundreds of thousands of views on Twitter. And this was a few weeks ago, May 19th. This wasn't even that long ago, guys. This was like 2 weeks ago I posted this. And then yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? I don't know, a couple days ago, somebody posted this link to this paper. Look what it says. Gravitational blue shift confirms new phenomenon of the vertical ether flow into any mass. What? And what does it mention? There are decisive experiments carried out in both the US and Germany which proves the existence of the vertical ether flow. Now, why is this relevant? Because the vertical ether flow is what we're seeing when we flip the experiment up. In fact, when he's talking about the German experiment, he's literally talking about this experiment right here, this exact one by Martin Gruznik. He actually quotes him in the paper. Here's the paper. Oh, I actually had it up. Watch this, Control F, Gruznik, or Martin. There it is right there. Look at that, quotes him. Recently, the vertical Michelson-Morley interferometer experiment had been conducted by Martin Gruznik of Germany, August 14, 2009. He's talking about the exact video we were just looking at. When somebody linked this to me, I went, what? You got to be kidding me. And Frank Pierce did it as well in 2010. Holy shit. And so what he's saying is he's explaining why we see the interferometer experiment move. Look, see, he shows right here. Here's the horizontal one, and here's the vertical. We don't see any movement because the ether flow is coming up and down. The difference is in this direction, not this direction. Holy shit. And why does the vertical ether flow matter? How does, remember guys, let's think about time dilation. Remember, space-time is a medium, space-time. Now, when we're in space-time, if I were to go up into outer space, there's less mass. The further I get from the Earth, the reason why time is the same for us is that I'm here and you guys are somewhere over here, but we're both on the surface of the planet. So therefore, time flows the same. But if one of us goes into outer space, time is going to flow differently. They're going to move faster because they're further away from gravity. Their time will flow faster. Relatively speaking, we're going in slow motion down here compared to up here. You're going in not super speed, but the difference depends on how much mass you're away from. But this difference is what's causing the interferometer to move. That's what's causing the interference to change. This is time dilation. So this person literally links time dilation where it says right here somewhere. Actually, I'm going to go back to my other thing. When you watch this, it's a direct consequence of the vertical ether flow, new formulas in the Doppler effect in the gravitational field, and its correlation with time dilation. So they're basically linking gravity and time dilation, which are connected already, to what we see there in that experiment. And so what they're essentially... Oh, sorry, I'm not even sharing that. My bad. Here it is right here. This is what I'm talking about. So I've highlighted it here. And so what we're saying here is that gravity itself is the interaction between the space-time ether and mass. So this is a unification theory that's explaining how the space-time is not empty and how gravity and space-time, the space-time ether, are manipulating the experiment. It's pretty wild. And yeah, gravitons, so like Brian Kelly would say, gravitons are tighter up and down than horizontally as inertia because the position and the mass of the Earth. That's another way of explaining what I just said. Exactly. The amount of inertia changes, aka time dilation. That's what time dilation is the difference in inertia. Wild, right? That to me, that just rings absolutely true. So this is, in my opinion, extremely strong evidence, if not absolute proof, that the ether is real, guys. No, Alex Stein, if you missed out the first part, Alex Stein did not troll me at all. Actually, a lot of people commented that they'd never seen Alex Stein so engaged. The only joke he even made was about Mike Obama. And my followers love those jokes. So it was great. Have we forgot about the plane? No, I mean, we talked about the plane for an hour and a half today, guys. We just finished by talking about the ether for like the last 20 or 30 minutes. We talked about the plane for a lot. We certainly haven't forgot about the plane. And we'll never forget it. In fact, I found a roundabout way to proving that the videos are real. We're just going to fucking prove the ether is real by proving that free energy exists. If we prove free energy exists with a free energy device, then that proves the ether is real. And that, in my opinion, proves that the videos are real as well, because I never would have gotten to that logically and scientifically without the videos and the science and the videos being real. So we found a roundabout way, even if the AARO doesn't admit they're real, even if Edward C. Lin doesn't come out, we found a roundabout way to prove the MH370 videos are real. And we get to change the world at the same time. Over Unity devices. Awesome. I love it, guys. I love it. I think that the ether is continuous. I think that everywhere you go, you're going to see the ether. And I see the interaction. I think the ether is basically the space-time, but with stuff in it. So that's why I like to call it the space-time ether. So you're going to hear me refer to it as the space-time ether. You also just hear me to refer to it as the ether. And I'm going to spell it A-E. We have the privilege. We're not calling it E-T-H-E-R. That's like Final Fantasy ether, where you're going to drink the thing and restore your mana. We're not doing that. It's A-E-T-H-E-R. Also acceptable to use the A-E symbol. Also acceptable. Yeah, Yahtzee chat. Okay, guys. I'm going to log off. I'm going to try to make a phone call here. Let me just message real quick. But I want to thank you guys. I appreciate you guys being here tonight. I appreciate you guys chatting with me. Tomorrow we'll have a big tomorrow we'll have a big stream, and we'll talk about free energy, and we'll talk more about the ether and whatever other questions you guys want. So thanks, MH370X. I'll post one more link to the Discord if you guys missed the last invite. There you go. I know a lot of people ask me, so you should be able to catch that one. As long as you join that one before tomorrow, my invites only last one day. So thanks, guys. Have a good one. And what's the distinction between the ether and space-time? The difference is that the ether has unlimited negative energy. So it's like an ocean of energy that we can tap into. And that explains where the quantum fluctuations in the vacuum come from. So that's the big difference. But at the end of the day, there's not much difference. And that's the beauty of it, is we don't have to rewrite all the laws of physics. We just have to re-understand the ones that we have already out there and make some minor interpretations and changes to them. So tomorrow we'll talk about the first and second laws of thermodynamics. We'll talk about free energy, and we'll do some announcements as well, guys. Yeah, and it's unlimited energy because the universe is really, really, really big. It's like an ocean that just goes on forever. So that's the reason why it's essentially unlimited energy. It's like taking little teaspoons of energy out of the ocean. Little teaspoons. You're never going to deplete the ocean with teaspoons. And okay, one more question. Why do you keep saying negative energy? Well, because the question is, what is negative energy? You know, this is one thing that if you read those scientific papers I posted earlier, it's important to understand the concept is negative energy is not some like bizarro energy. It's energy that's in the ether that has not realized itself in reality as we perceive it. It's the energy that's in the ether, in the latent energy of the space-time. And that's essentially, in my opinion, at least, what negative energy is. And negative energy is dark energy, in my opinion. And that's why negative energy is not even a really good word for it, because people think it's this exotic thing. But negative energy is just energy we haven't tapped into yet. So, okay, guys, I think that's going to be it for tonight. You guys have a great night. Thank you very much for following along. MH370X, I love you. Peace. Oh, wait, what kind of song should we play out tonight? Let's do the rap song. Where was the diss track? Let's do this one.
Welcome, step right up. Ashton and crew are about to erupt with facts like these. Who needs debunkers? We'll be beaming through space while they drive their clunkers. Be a 4B, I'm a 4B. This investigation is legit. Be a facts debunkers can step off with their bull spit. Oh, no. Not to name names, both West doesn't know best. And the corridor crew, well, the theories are a mess. Haha, who knows where this all goes? Bless the sky and those below. But liars and deniers can suck my black hole. Y'all don't come at me, bro. Be a 4B, I'm a 4B. This investigation is legit. Be a facts debunkers can step off with their bull spit. Oh, no.
Infrared eyes, scanning the black, tracking the heat, never turning back. Control 22, a covert gaze, and roll 33 in the cosmic maze. And rolls in the mix, secrets untold, silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interest, far and wide. As fears, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. In the silence of space, they keep their post, shields unseen yet feared the most. With precision and speed, they warn of danger, keeping us safe from the missile's anger. As beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. And rolls in the mix, secrets untold, silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interest, far and wide. As fears, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. As fears, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats